Welcome to This Explainer. Businesses today are literally pouring billions into sustainability targets, budgets, and reporting. It is more than at any point in history. If you flip through almost any corporate annual report right now, you're going to see a massive push toward green initiatives, community investments, and climate pledges. And honestly, it's a fantastic development. But underneath all of this incredible activity, there's a fundamental tension that we really need to talk about.
Right. So here is the stark, central question we all have to ask ourselves. Are all these amazing sustainability efforts actually working, or are we just doing less harm? You see, reporting an activity, throwing a budget at a problem, or publishing a beautifully designed sustainability report, that doesn't automatically mean anything actually changed in the real world. To understand why we sometimes miss the mark here, we have to take a hard look at the tools we're currently using.
So let's dive right into Section 1, the alphabet soup. If you work in business, you are intimately familiar with this alphabet soup of sustainability frameworks. We absolutely love throwing these acronyms around interchangeably, usually in those marathon strategy meetings, but they actually do very different jobs. The absolutely crucial thing to remember is that these frameworks are complementary. They aren't competing with each other. Let's break it down really quick. ESG, environmental, social, and governance. That's how you measure performance and manage risks. It tells us how responsibly a company operates. CSR, corporate social responsibility, well, that's how you deliver programs and take action. It's the what are we actually doing, like investing in local communities. And then the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, they provide your destination. They align your specific work with global priorities, basically answering the question, what does success look like for society? So to sum it up, ESG manages your risks, CSR mobilizes your actions, and SDGs give you your global direction. But even if you have all three working perfectly in sync, something is still missing.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 2, Impact, the missing link. So here is that core tension I mentioned. While those three frameworks are incredibly valuable, on their own, they don't actually prove if anything changed for people or for nature. Think about it. A company can have a stellar ESG score for reporting emissions, a massive CSR budget for planting trees, and an SDG logo plastered all over its website, and still completely fail to demonstrate real-world impact. That brings us to the missing link, which is impact management. This is the rigorous discipline of demonstrating real, lasting change that is directly attributable to your interventions. It connects the actions you took to measurable results. It asks the really tough questions, like, did poverty actually decrease? Did the ecosystem actually recover? Impact management completely shifts our attention from just reporting what we did to proving what actually changed, who it changed for, and whether those benefits are going to stick around. When we map this whole journey out, you start with what businesses already have on one side: ESG performance, CSR action, and your SDG destination. But right in the middle, acting as a bridge, is impact management. By running your projects through an evidence engine, using tools like a theory of change, monitoring, evaluation, and learning, and results-based management, we filter our actions to make absolutely sure they are measurable, lasting, and credible. And when you do that, you cross that bridge to achieve investment readiness. This is the holy grail where you can prove additionality, permanence, and risk management to investors, which ultimately unlocks serious capital from carbon markets, biodiversity credits, and blue finance. This leads us right into Section 3, outputs versus real outcomes. To really grasp how much impact management changes the game, let's ground this in a real-world reality check. Let's look at a mangrove restoration project in Viet Nam. Here is how it usually goes. A CSR budget drives the action, say spending the money to plant 1 million seedlings. ESG frameworks step in to assess the operational risks of the project, and the SDGs align the whole thing with global climate goals. That is all great, but those are just outputs. It sounds super impressive to say, hey, we spent our budget and planted 1 million trees. But impact management forces us to ask the ultimate outcome questions. Did those seedlings actually survive? Did they actually reduce coastal erosion and protect the shoreline from storms? Did the fish nursery habitat recover? And did local household incomes increase as a result? If we don't answer those specific questions, we run the risk of our sustainability efforts just becoming a catalog of good intentions rather than an actual driver of transformative change.
Let's look at Section 4, Bridge to Shelf Edge.
We really need to zoom out to the macro view here, because real-world outcomes, they don't happen in a vacuum. They are deeply connected across massive, complex landscapes where social, environmental, and economic impacts just flow right into one another. We can literally trace this interconnected flow of impact from the very top of a watershed all the way down to the deep ocean. Step 1 starts high up in the tropical hills, where healthy uplands protect our water sources and biodiversity. Then, Step 2, that flows down into the wetlands and rivers, which act like giant sponges to filter the water and store carbon. Step 3, those rivers reach the mangroves on the coast, providing absolutely crucial blue carbon storage and nursery habitats for marine life. And finally, Step 4, we reach the coral reefs and the shelf edge, which support deep ocean biodiversity and massive commercial fisheries. The point is, what happens way up at Step 1 directly impacts Step 4.
When we step back and look at this full ridge to shelf edge concept, we see how one entirely connected system integrates everything we've been talking about. We still have ESG, CSR, and SDGs acting as our sturdy foundation, but right in the center, again, is impact management. It ensures that the activities happening in our sustainable cities, our forests, and our ocean buffers are actually transitioning into measurable outcomes. Social, environmental, and economic impacts are inextricably linked across this entire ecosystem. You literally cannot fix one piece without understanding its ripple effect on the whole shebang. Moving right along to Section 5, Unlocking Investment Readiness.
Okay, so you might be wondering, why does all this rigorous measurement and connected thinking actually matter to a business? Well, it is all about unlocking real financial capital. Sustainable finance markets are expanding incredibly fast, but investors are also getting way more careful. A heartwarming sustainability story just doesn't cut it anymore. To unlock capital in voluntary carbon markets, biodiversity credits, or blue finance, investors demand hard, rigorous evidence. They require additionality, which just means this environmental benefit absolutely would not have happened without their investment. They need measurable outcomes, strict risk management, sound governance so the project can adapt when things inevitably change, and permanence, which is the ironclad assurance that the carbon will actually stay stored or the forest will stay standing for decades to come. I want to highlight a quote here that really hits the nail on the head. Credible impact evidence can reduce uncertainty. Lower uncertainty can strengthen investor confidence, and stronger confidence can help good projects become investable. This is absolutely crucial to understand. Impact management isn't just about making your annual sustainability report look a little glossier. It is a critical de-risking mechanism. It is how you prove to the financial world that your green project is a sound, secure, and smart investment. And finally, Section 6, VCCI, from paperwork to action. Let's bring this whole story home to Viet Nam. This is a country advancing so rapidly toward green growth, climate resilience, and sustainable finance. There's a massive, very specific opportunity right now for businesses operating in Vietnam's emerging green and blue economies. The Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry, or VCCI, is championing a really crucial mission right now. Their goal is to help Vietnamese businesses transition away from viewing sustainability as just ESG disclosure and endless paperwork compliance. Instead, they want to empower businesses to build truly investable, evidence-based green and blue solutions. By integrating impact management into the mix, VCCI is helping companies connect their CSR investments and their SDG goals with the kind of hard, measurable results that actively attract private capital and build deeply competitive, resilient businesses. As sustainability practice matures globally, just doing less harm simply isn't going to cut it anymore. ESG, CSR, and the SDGs are incredible, necessary tools, but they have to be connected to evidence, to learning, and most importantly, to real results. So I want to leave you with a final lingering question to challenge how you and your organization approach your very next sustainability initiative. Are we making a difference, and can we demonstrate it credibly? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it helps you and your team make the leap from just reporting activities to proving real, lasting impact.